Now refresh.
Okay, it's live.
All right. Intro.
We're on her computer.
Holy cow, we are live from the wind zone, and we think with video. This is our trial run with video. We've got our producer in here. Nick Fenton has been working on this non-stop, and we'll see how it turns out. We've also got our co-producer in here, Ava Swan, who's helping us with the making sure all the YouTube is working. She's kind of a YouTube connoisseur, and so hopefully this is working. Hopefully everybody likes it. We'll get better as we go, but wanted to give this a test run on the first edition of the LikeFolio podcast since the trade wars began. And so Donald Trump has announced tariffs on multiple countries or on the world. I'm really not sure. The market's been up and down on the news. Have you guys been following this? Nick, have you followed the tariff situation?
I've followed it a little bit, but I haven't followed it extensively.
Yeah, it's almost just like you just read a headline, the market's either up or down.
Yeah, the basics from what I gather is he wants to make it an even playing field. He wants to tariff countries the exact same amount that they tariff us for goods that are imported.
And then I think he's going to carve out exclusions for friends and family, like Mexico and China, if they play ball fairly under NAFTA.
Sure.
Or if they renegotiate NAFTA, things like that.
And I know one of his big reasonings is he really, the steel manufacturing he thinks is just huge for any country to survive long term, which, it's kind of a dinosaur industry, but it's still very important for defense and everything. He wants to, really bring that back into the United States as far as having an actual steel manufacturing presence. And, of course, other reasons, he wants to use it as a negotiation tactic, but we'll see where he's going with this one.
Historically, have protectionist views been politically like Republican or Democrat? Because it feels, it's kind of a mix to me. What it feels like, it feels kind of left.
You know what it is? It's just populist.
Okay.
I don't think that you can necessarily say it's one or the other, but it's populist. I think that it really puts people in a weird position. I think you're right. Like, it's not. He's getting a lot of flack from, the conservative side of the Republican Party, getting flack from Democrats because he always gets flack from Democrats. So right. I don't know, but to me it seems like a just complete misunderstanding, as usual, of what Trump is about, and that is.
Is this posturing? Is this
it's
negotiating?
This is negotiating. You come out with a
exactly. Well, that's what he wants. He wants everyone to be completely uncertain of his end game.
Yeah,
and he wants to put all these crazy ideas in people's heads, and he wants them saying crazy headlines to keep this information in the news, so that we're talking about it and everybody else is talking about it, and it's on everybody's mind.
And everybody around the world is reacting to you instead of you reacting to them, which I think is the key thing. That's what won the election, and that's maybe what'll win the trade wars. But we're not going to get into that too much. I just think that when you're looking at headlines, you have to look beyond the headline, and you have to start thinking about, all right, what is really the probable play here? And when it comes to Donald Trump, the probable play is that he is coming out swinging really hard at the very beginning and establishing a very strong anchor position for negotiation and increasing his leverage. And it sounds crazy at the beginning, and everybody acts like it's crazy and the economics of the country are going to go into the toilet, but really it's a opening move in a negotiation, and he's just trying to move things in a certain direction. You may not like the direction, but you don't have to believe the hype of the opening move, is my point.
And it seems like it's taken a lot of people off guard, but he talked a lot about fair trade. I mean, that was one of his big things. I mean, if you would have elected Ron Paul for president and the audits the Fed, you don't get surprised. That's his thing. Trump was always talking about fair trade, but I don't know that people knew what that meant. They didn't know that this might be step one of fair trade.
I think that two things that people could do to familiarize themselves with the message of Donald Trump is listen to his or watch his 1988 appearance on Oprah. 1988
years ago?
30 years ago.
Oh, bad math.
Where he's talking
I've never
about
seen you make a mistake like that in my life.
where he's talking about trade imbalances with Japan and stuff like that. And then, read the book that the president wrote on negotiating. Like, that would be step one if I wanted to understand what the president's doing. I would read that book. But anyway, we're not going to get too political. I just think from a trading perspective, avoid those headlines. On a lighter note, Alexas are laughing at people across the country. Avi, you know something about this?
I've heard about it, and it is so odd.
Here, speaking to...
I've heard about it, but it's so weird. And a lot of people are saying, like, when I'm just, like, living about my normal life inside, Alexa just starts laughing. And it's insane.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
So has it happened to anyone that you know?
No, I've just heard about it on
Like on the
social
news?
media, stuff like that.
Yeah, so apparently Alexa's just tripping out laughing at people.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
How random would that be? You're sitting in your living room watching TV with your family, maybe eating some dinner, and all of a sudden Alexa just starts creepy laughing at you.
That would be strange. I haven't heard it. We have one in our kitchen. I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, so do we. And if it happened, I think that would be the last straw for Mrs. Swantastic. I think that thing would be in the trash.
It's scary. It's scary. I actually just got the thermostat Ecobee 4 that has Alexa built into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's done a few funky things, but I'm chalking it up to just, it's a brand new thermostat technology. Let's give it a little time to freshen out.
What if Alexa makes your house really cold and then starts laughing at you and you're shivering?
Then, yeah, that thermostat's gone.
It's out.
As is my Echo.
Yeah. Well, we put out in the LikeFolio letter a couple weeks ago some really interesting data where I think the Echo and Alexa is vulnerable. We watched in LikeFolio data, and in Q4, which was kind of the big, holiday season, the Google Home Mini launched, I think, in October of last year, and we saw Google Home and Google Home Mini purchase intent mentions go through the roof. Now, Alexa didn't do bad. Here, I'll hold up the chart here if that's going to work. We'll get this all synced in. But you can see the Alexa is the smaller rising line, but it's very good. And then the Google Home is the one that's just going through the roof. And so they're both doing well, but it looks like Google Home had a major increase and dominated that fourth quarter, which was surprising to me because all you ever hear about is Alexa. Like, the branding's much better because it's Alexa rather than Google. But
that Super Bowl ad was awesome.
Yeah.
Alexa lost her voice. That was good.
That was really good.
Yeah, and all the celebrities came out. And
yeah.
Yeah, that was a great commercial.
Even Bezos was on that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we looked into, why would Google Home be doing so much better? Well, it's pretty easy to figure out. The Google Assistant is 6 times more likely to answer a user's question than Amazon Alexa is.
Wow.
According to a study by 360i. Each assistant was asked 3,000 questions, of which Google Assistant answered 72% and Alexa answered 13%.
Wow.
I'd love to see the questions, but that's staggering difference.
Well, you can imagine, and then it doesn't take much of a leap for you to figure out the deal. It's like, okay, so Google has access to, Google Home Mini has access to all of Google.
All things Google.
The whole did you mean?
Whereas
that search replacement, they know what you're trying to search for even when you can't type it.
Exactly. And whereas Alexa's got access to Amazon and some probably relatively rudimentary web crawling mechanism compared to Google just having it all stored inside of itself, basically.
So my only question here is, where does Siri rank in all this?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have Siri, but
is Siri still a thing?
Siri's a thing.
Still going?
Siri's still a thing, but
Apple just came out with that HomePod.
She's
It's got
dumb.
Siri technology built into it. So
Yeah.
it's essentially their answer to the Echo in the Google Home.
That's all that's putting rings on people's tables.
Is it? I didn't see that.
It's like a Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Like as if you didn't use a coaster with a drink kind of ring.
Yeah, but it's something with finish on it. But it apparently it wipes off pretty easy, but it's freaking people out.
I bet.
So Google's dominating that, which is not good news. Alexa's great for shopping, but that's
That
not
makes
what
sense.
people really use it for.
Yeah, and Alexa has a lot of integration because I have Alexa in my home. It integrates perfectly with Sonos, where I don't know if Google Home integrates well with Sonos.
Yeah.
It has a lot of integration with like Samsung Smart Things, which I have a Smart Things hub in my house that controls lights and dim levels on lights and just turning things
So you
off
could
and
say turn the
on.
living room on or up or down or whatever as far as lights go.
I can say Alexa,
That's cool.
interior lights off, and all the lights that I have patched into the interior lights turn off. Or I can say one specific light off and on. I can tell her to do it to a dim level. I can tell her to turn the LED strip on the TV to a certain color.
You're on the Enterprise.
Yeah. So she integrates really, really well. Like the skills built into the Alexa app,
Yeah.
there's some really cool skills, and specifically smart home integration skills
Yeah,
that
that's
I'm not
cool.
sure if Google Home has, but if it does, maybe I need to switch to Google Home.
I know, and I agree, and I wonder if I were Google. I mean, they're so much smarter than me, so why even say this? But if I were Google, what I would try to do is come up with the Amazon skills without the user having to add the skill. Right? It should just be
auto detects.
Yeah, just figure out what it is I'm wanting to do. It's
Right.
like, oh well, now I see you've got the
You got Sonos on your
Samsung's-
home network, so let's just go ahead and auto detect the skill and add it and make it integrated automatically.
right.
There we go.
That's
Now we're cooking with gas.
That's the money move, because with the Alexa, I'm like, I get these emails about the new skills, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll add the Domino's one, but I've never used it. It's just
There's a
kinda
little
tough.
bit of a conflict between the way they sell the Alexa is that you can just talk to it and tell it what you want. But if you have to go in there and type on things,
Yeah.
click on things to get it set up correctly, that's the opposite of why you bought an Alexa. So that's interesting.
So Ava, our co-producer, is giving us the thumbs up that the YouTube Live is streaming, we believe.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then
Wow.
that's a good topic. So anyway, we're going to keep an eye on that because this is just one quarter's worth of data, and this is what LikeFolio does. We can drill down to the brand level, which is very, very cool, and show purchase intent mentions of those two items. We're going to keep a strong eye on that, because if it is the future of shopping or of advertising or of search, then the winner there is a really big deal between those two companies.
And I want to hit on that we can drill down to the brand level. That's extremely important, because if we were just pulling up a chart of Google versus Amazon, Alexa and Google Home would be like less than 1% of each.
Blips.
It would be nothing.
Yeah.
So that chart is really cool, and it's only because we can drill down to the brand level.
Yeah, which no one else can do because they don't even have the brands.
Right.
That's weak. Landon, tell us about your trip to LA. Landon got to go to the TDA Market Drive event in Los Angeles.
It was awesome. It was, well, except for the weather. It rained here for a week in Louisville, and then I went to LA where it's always sunny, and then it rained for the 2 days that I was there in LA, so that kind of stunk. But other than that, it was a great show. It was a great turnout. I think they had a lot of new Scottrade people coming in from the merger, and so
That's big.
Yep.
Very big.
There was a good mix between, the Thinkorswim crowd, who's very deep and technical and
Astute,
advanced,
yeah,
and then a lot of the newer Scottrade people that are getting started into active trading. So it's really cool. And LikeFolio got an extremely good reception. People were really into the social data angle.
Well, yeah, they should be. It is really cool.
I mean, normally people are into it, but maybe it's because it was West Coast, maybe because they're Scottrade people. I don't know, but they were really into it this time. So I was excited about that.
Yeah, it could just be having a super handsome, cool guy up on stage telling them about it. I mean,
Could be a factor.
If you're watching this, he's way more handsome in person than he is on video.
Yeah.
Just trust
I think
us on
there's
this
something
one.
wrong with these cameras, I think.
Yeah. If the camera adds 10 pounds, then the iPhone configuration we have in here must add 20 based on what I see on the previews.
I did talk about a lot of
what stocks did you go
opportunities.
through? Yeah.
I think there was 6 or 7. So I'll go through them fairly quickly. One is Chewy's, which we've talked about on this podcast a lot. We've been bullish on it for a while.
Great queso.
Great chips. Great queso delivery.
Yeah.
And in fact, you and I have been holding a long position
Yes.
for quite a while. I actually took profits recently, but
It went against us for a while, and we just kept holding. Now it's coming back really well.
yeah, because we've said this many times.
Duration.
The lead time is huge on some of these things. I mean,
I think with restaurants, it takes a little longer.
absolutely. But we defined like at least a 6-month lead time on this.
Yep.
So I think within the first 2 months, it went against us pretty well. But it literally phased me 0 because I knew there was a 6-month lead
Right.
time, and I just wanted to go ahead and get in front of it. So I just held and held and held, and it crept back up to break even, and then had a nice little profit in place. So I
Nice.
just went ahead and took it.
Well done.
Love it.
Yeah, Chewy's was bullish.
Why don't you show the
Yeah,
the
so
audience the chart?
this is embarrassing because we ran out of color ink. The let's see, the dark line is our data. Is that close enough?
Yeah,
That's
it's perfect.
The dark line is our data. The lighter line is the stock price. So you can see that our data is hitting and holding kind of all-time highs, while the stock was falling off down here, and that's where we were taking a bullish position, and now it's come back, but I still think it's got more to go because the data hasn't been this high in 5 years, and the stock's been much higher.
So that's people actually talking about eating at Chewy's.
Yes. And then on the flip side for restaurants is Wingstop, which is
Who wants that?
not a lot of people.
Hey, those
This-
lemon pepper wings, man. They're something
Wingstop
good. They're
is
something
doing
special.
very poorly. Dark line's our data. You can see that it is really dropping down. They IPO'd, I guess, a couple of years ago, but the purchase intent data is at 5-year lows, while the stock is doing really well. So this is one of those divergence plays
Ooh.
where our data disagrees, and so we are bearish on Wingstop. A couple more. Let's see.
Do you know why the mentions are decreasing? I have a thesis.
Tell me about it.
Rick Ross, he's a huge rapper, like one of the top 5 most influential rappers. He essentially owns, I think, like 25 Wingstops. He's a huge franchisee, and he talked about Wingstop nonstop in his songs and during interviews. But he's kind of been out of the picture for the last 9 months, and he actually was just recently in the news for almost dying of a heart condition.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know if he'll be talking about Wingstop anytime soon either.
Jeez, yeah.
You know, so I mean, without that huge awareness and constant
Yeah.
being pushed into, that demographic's head,
Yep.
there could be
That's
some
interesting.
purchase mentions because a lot of his listeners are huge Twitter users, right?
Yep.
So, another one, this one kind of pains me to do, Domino's, because we've been all over this one for a long time. We've been very bullish, and it's been right as the stock goes up and up and up. Again, our data, the purchase intent data is the dark line, and you can see that it's just essentially broken. The uptrend on purchase intent has broken while the stock is hitting and holding highs. The big takeaway here is you can notice how seasonal pizza is around football season. I think it peaks on Super Bowl every year, and you can just tell this last Super Bowl was nothing compared to previous ones. So
For Domino's.
for Domino's, and
Cool.
it stinks to have to flip because we've been so big fans and right about Domino's, but now we have to go the other direction. And finally, let's talk about Costco. I heard that groan, Andy. So Costco, we expected a big beat this quarter based on our data. It's all-time highs, purchase intent's all-time highs, and it's been very predictive over the past. Stocks going up, data's going up, stocks at 5-year highs, data's at 5-year highs. There is a lead time on it, so we expected revenue to beat the street. And they just reported this week, I think.
Yeah, this morning. Or yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday, and they beat. We were right, and the stock is
Yeah.
down.
Stock is down.
barely, right? I think it was down.
Stock is down barely, and I was stupid enough to buy out of the money call options, and so all the premium got sucked out of those. And
But you've done well doing out of the money.
I have, but I was really expecting if Costco was going to beat that it would rally
Right.
with the market, and I think I have a little bit of a theory why it didn't.
Okay.
A little bit of a theory. I think that Costco reports their revenues every month. So there's a lot baked into this. So it wasn't a surprise, and it's probably more about the guidance. I still like the position bullish. I just wish I would have sold puts underneath, or been a little bit more in the money with my calls, or a little bit longer duration, because I still like a bullish position on Costco. I just played it too aggressively for what Costco is.
Gotcha.
What was your duration? This month?
No, it's
This week.
it's like 44 days. I think it's April, end of April, something. So there's some time.
What strike?
I got the 210s.
Oh, whoa!
And it's at 185.
Swinging for the fences.
Yeah,
I just hope you didn't
fences.
fat finger it like that SPY trade. So 6 contracts, you did 60. Did you hear about this one later?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't do that this time, but they did get cut in half this morning on a beat, which hurts.
Yeah, that does hurt.
So, but that's the game we play.
Yeah.
That's the game we're playing, and
I
there's a lot of
actually
different
explained that in LA. I said, look, you can't draw correlations between our data and the stock price. You can draw correlations between our data and the revenue.
Yeah.
But there are expenses, there are external events. There's a lot of things that move the stock price. There's a huge advantage if you can predict to a fair degree what the revenue is going to be, obviously, and that's what we're trying to do. But there's other factors, and sometimes you're right and lose, like on Costco.
Yeah, which I'm good with because I've been right. I've been wrong and won.
Right, it goes both ways.
So it's good to have an edge.
Absolutely.
And LikeFolio gives you that edge, and we are glad to be able to do it now in video streaming on Twitter at LikeFolio.
This is high tech.
YouTube.
And on YouTube, just search LikeFolio. Our channel will pop up. Make sure you subscribe to that, because then you'll get notified, I guess, when we go live.
Subscribing just kind of helps us out as far as building our audience and
Yeah.
getting some of the subscriber benefits. You will get notifications if you subscribe and you choose to get notifications. So you have to click the bell next to the subscribe button. So subscribe first, then click the little bell next to the subscribe, and you'll get notified on your cell phone anytime we have a new video upload or anytime we're going live. And trust me, you don't want to miss these live videos.
No, because we are on the precipice of disaster at all times with this. So I think this went very successfully.
It's a good test run.
Good test run.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we haven't heard the audio output
Thanks,
yet.
Nick, for helping set us up, and thank you, Ava, for your co-producing expertise. It's been wonderful working with you,
Yes, great job, Ava.
and that's a wrap for this one. Good job, guys.
All right, good luck.